One Thursday morning, in a mansion worth $42 million, a man in a gray uniform notices something that doesn't belong. Not a sound, not an object, a pattern. That pattern, invisible to doctors, to specialists, to everyone who'd examined the dying billionaire for 11 months, would unravel a murder plot, expose the cruelty of indifference, and prove that sometimes the people we refuse to see are the only ones who truly look. Miguel Reyes, 37 years old, calloused hands that smell like bleach, a single father who takes the 5:30 a.m. bus because he can't afford the car payment, who works in places where people look through him like he's made of glass, who promised his dying wife he'd give their daughter the world, even if the world refused to see him. Vivian Ashford, 32, tech billionaire. Her algorithm changed how the world connects, but she's forgotten how to connect herself. Dying from an illness no one can diagnose, drowning in medicine that doesn't work and money that can't save her. And Catalina Reyes, 12 years old, who knows her father is a hero long before anyone else does, who counts coins in a ceramic fish because she understands that love is measured in sacrifice, not dollars. What happens when the invisible see what the powerful cannot? When compassion notices what medicine misses? When one man's refusal to look away becomes the difference between death and justice? This is not just a story about survival. It's a question about humanity, about whether we see the people who keep our world running while we're too busy looking up to look around, about how one Thursday morning, one forgotten man and one simple act of attention changed two lives and exposed a truth that wealth tried to bury. This is that story, and it starts with a pattern that doesn't belong. The alarm doesn't just ring, it screams. 4:47 a.m., 3 minutes early, like it's trying to steal even his sleep. Miguel's hand shoots out from under a blanket, so thin he can see the pattern of old flowers his wife picked out 9 years ago, back when she was still alive, back when thin blankets felt like enough because they had each other. The apartment smells like mildew and hope running out. Drip, drip, drip. The ceiling leak lands in a pasta pot. The same pot he'll use tonight to make dinner because he only has 2 pots, and poverty means you reuse everything. The water is brown at first. It always is. By the time it runs clear, Miguel's feet are numb on linoleum that cracks like his back when he stands. 37 years old. Feels like 60. Behind the curtain, makeshift privacy in a 1-bedroom apartment where father and daughter share space but not dignity, Catalina sleeps. Her breath is soft, rhythmic, the only peaceful sound in their whole world. On her nightstand, a library book about sea turtles, a photo of her mother, and a ceramic fish bank with exactly $43.18 inside. Miguel knows because he counted it last night when she asked the question that broke his heart. "Dad, can we afford the aquarium trip?" $125. Between him and his daughter's dream, $81.82. The distance might as well be 1,000,000. But here's what Miguel Reyes understands that most people don't. Love isn't about what you have. It's about what you're willing to lose to give someone else what they need. He dresses in his gray uniform, the name Miguel stitched in faded blue letters over his heart, like he needs a reminder of who he is. The shirt smells like industrial cleaner no matter how many times he washes it. Chemical and sharp, burning the inside of his nose.
marking him as what he is: the help, the invisible, the man who cleans up after people who'll never learn his name. He leaves a note on the counter, in handwriting that his daughter says looks like a doctor's. "Morning, mi amor. Oatmeal in the pot. Love you more than all the fish in the sea. Papa." While Miguel waits at a bus stop where January wind cuts through cheap jackets like they're made of paper, Vivian Ashford wakes up in a bed that cost more than most people make in a year. She doesn't wake to an alarm. She wakes to nausea. The room spins even though she's lying still. Her stomach clenches, releasing bile that tastes like metal and medication. She barely makes it to her bathroom. Marble floors, heated, spotless because someone cleans them daily, someone whose name she's never bothered to learn. 32 years old, dying, and nobody knows why. The pills on her counter stand in rows like soldiers losing a war. Anti-nausea medication that doesn't stop the nausea, pain pills that barely touch the pain, sleeping medication that gives her nightmares, anxiety medication that makes her feel nothing at all. Vivian Ashford built a billion-dollar empire by seeing patterns others missed.
But she can't see what's killing her, and she definitely doesn't see the man who will save her life. Not yet. Catalina Reyes knows 3 things for certain. 1, her father is the best man in the world. 2, the world doesn't know it yet. 3, $125 is the distance between her and normal. She lies in her small bed behind the curtain, listening to her father move through their morning routine. She hears the water cough and sputter in the bathroom, hears the coffee maker that only works if you hit it twice on the left side, hears his footsteps, quiet, careful, trying not to wake her even though she's been awake since 4:30, unable to sleep because of the question she asked last night. The question that made her father's face do that thing, that breaking thing, that look that says, "I'm failing you," even though he's the only reason she has anything at all. 12 years old, and Catalina already understands what most adults never learn: that heroes don't wear capes or make headlines or have billions in the bank. Heroes wake up at 4:47 a.m. to work jobs that don't pay enough. Heroes skip meals so their daughters can eat. Heroes ride buses in January cold so the car payment money can go toward a field trip, toward a dream, toward one day of feeling like everyone else. Her father thinks she doesn't know about the payday loans, about the skipped dinners, about the cardboard he cuts to fit inside his work shoes where the soles have worn through. She knows. She sees everything. Because invisibility runs in families, and she's learned to notice what others overlook, just like her father will. The bus ride. Miguel sits in the back of the bus, always the back, where the forgotten people sit, and watches the city transform through scratched windows. Worn apartments become nice townhouses become estates become fortresses. The route takes 43 minutes, and Miguel uses every one of them to prepare himself for a world that doesn't want him there. A world where he'll scrub toilets in bathrooms bigger than his apartment, where he'll polish floors while walking on knees that stopped working right 2 years ago, where he'll be spoken to like he's a machine, a tool, an inconvenience that cleans.
But he needs this job. Needs it more than pride, more than dignity, more than the anger that burns in his chest when he thinks about how hard he works for so little. The bus stops at Windermere Hills, the gated community where the Ashford estate sits like a crown on a hill, looking down on everyone below. Marcus, the security guard, nods as the cleaning company van picks Miguel up. "Morning, Miguel." "Morning, Marcus." The only person in this whole place who uses his name. The van drives up the winding road.
Oak trees older than Miguel's grandmother line both sides, their branches creating a tunnel that feels like entering another world. Through gaps in the trees, the mansion appears. White stone, columns, windows that catch sunlight and throw it back like a challenge. $42 million of architecture, built by people who didn't clean it, lived in by a woman who didn't see the people who did. Miguel gets out at the service entrance. Not the front door with its fountain and marble steps. The side door, where the invisible enter. Derek, his supervisor, is already there with his clipboard and permanent scowl. 40-something, bald, the kind of man who found a tiny amount of power and wielded it like a sword. "You're 9 minutes late." "Bus was save it. Third floor needs deep cleaning. Miss Ashford had another episode last night. Bad one. Double gloves." Miguel's stomach tightens. Another episode. 11 months he's been cleaning here. 11 months of watching a billionaire woman destroy herself from the inside out. 11 months of wondering why someone with everything looks like she has nothing at all. The service elevator whispers open. Everything in this place whispers. Doors, elevators, even the air conditioning. Engineered for silence, for comfort, for a life where nothing harsh ever intrudes. Except death. Death is intruding now, despite the money, despite the silence. Miguel smells it before he sees it. Vomit, sweat, something medicinal and wrong, like a hospital room where hope went to die. The third floor is Vivian Ashford's private wing. 5,000 square feet just for her. Bedroom, bathroom, office, sitting room, private balcony overlooking gardens where peacocks wander like they own the place. Maybe they do. Maybe everyone here is just performing their role in someone else's paradise. Miguel pulls on double gloves and enters the bedroom. The bed, bigger than his entire sleeping area, looks like a crime scene. Silk sheets twisted, stained with evidence of a body at war with itself. The windows overlook gardens that probably cost 6 figures to maintain. On the nightstand, medication bottles standing in formation. So many bottles for someone so young. Miguel starts with the bathroom. It's always worse there. Today's no different. The toilet, the floor, the counter all need his attention. As he cleans, he can't help but read the prescription labels. On Dancitron, oxycodone, zolpidem, alprazolam. Names he can barely pronounce for a suffering he can't imagine. Or maybe he can. His wife's final months flash through his mind. The way cancer ate her alive. The medications that stopped working. The hospitals that smelled like this bathroom smells now. Death has a scent. Miguel knows it well. You missed a spot. His head snaps up. Vivian Ashford stands in the doorway, leaning against the frame like it's the only thing keeping her upright. Her robe probably costs more Miguel makes in 6 months, but it hangs on her frame like a tarp on a skeleton. She's lost weight, a lot of weight. Her skin has a gray tint that expensive makeup can't hide. Her hair, dark, professionally cut even now, is unwashed. But her eyes are sharp, cold, evaluating him like he's a stain she's considering whether to remove. Sorry, ma'am. Miguel looks back down at the floor he's already cleaned twice. Do you know how much I pay for this service? She doesn't wait for an answer. People like her never do. $14,000 a month for perfection, not spots, not sorry, perfection. Yes, ma'am. What's your name? Miguel almost says it's on his shirt. Almost.
but he needs this job more than he needs to be right. Miguel, ma'am. Miguel. She says it like she's testing whether it's worth remembering. The verdict seems to be no. I expect better. Do you understand? Yes, ma'am. She turns to leave, then sways. Her hand shoots out, gripping the doorframe so hard her knuckles go white. Miguel stands instinctively. Ma'am, are you? I'm fine. But her voice is thin, stretched. Just finish your work and don't speak to me unless I speak to you first. She leaves, her footsteps unsteady on marble floors that Miguel polished yesterday. He stands there, heart hammering, and looks around the room. At the medication that doesn't work, at the wealth that can't heal, at the woman who's dying despite having everything.
Something is wrong here. Something beyond the obvious. But what does he know? He's just the cleaning man, the invisible man. He goes back to scrubbing, the chemical smell burning his throat, his daughter's face in his mind, counting down hours until he can go home. Claire Morrison has been Vivian Ashford's executive assistant for 7 years. 7 years of watching brilliance slowly poison itself. She stands in the hallway outside Vivian's bedroom, having just heard the exchange with the cleaning man. Miguel, she notes, filing the name away, because Claire makes it a point to learn everyone's name, even the people Vivian pretends don't exist. Claire has watched Vivian transform from the brilliant, driven woman who built Ashford Technologies into this hollow shell, this dying woman who snaps at cleaning staff and throws away food that could feed families while she wastes away. The doctors can't find what's wrong. 11 specialists, dozens of tests, every scan technology can provide. Nothing. Psychosomatic, the last one suggested. Stress, anxiety manifesting physically. But Claire knows stress, knows anxiety. This isn't that. This is something else. She watches Miguel through the doorway, on his knees, scrubbing a floor that's already clean. She notices how gently he handles Vivian's things, how carefully he arranges the medication bottles back in their precise order. There's kindness in those movements, attention, care. Things Vivian's money can't buy because she's forgotten they exist. Claire makes a mental note. Keep an eye on Miguel Reyes. Sometimes the people closest to a problem are too close to see it. Sometimes you need someone from the outside, someone invisible, someone who cleans up messes for a living and knows how to look closely at what others ignore. Vivian makes it back to her sitting room before her legs give out. She collapses onto a chair that cost $18,000 and feels nothing but the wave of nausea rolling through her body. 11 months. 11 months of dying in slow motion.
11 months of the best doctors in the world telling her there's nothing wrong, while everything in her body screams otherwise. She's lost 30 pounds, can't keep food down, can't sleep without medication, can't think clearly, can barely walk some days, and nobody knows why. The cleaning man's face flashes through her mind. Miguel. Brown eyes, concerned for just a second before she shut it down. Why does he care? He doesn't know her. She pays him. Well, she pays the company that pays him to clean, not to care. Caring is a luxury she stopped affording herself 3 years ago when her father died and left her alone with a company to run, a fortune to manage, and nobody to trust. You can't build an empire on kindness. Her father taught her that. You build it on strength, on intelligence, on never showing weakness. And right now, she's nothing but weakness, dying from something she can't name, being pitied by a man whose name she barely remembered long enough to repeat it. Vivian closes her eyes and tries to remember when she became this person. When did she stop seeing people? When did money become a barrier instead of a bridge? When did she start measuring worth by bank accounts instead of whatever it is that makes people matter? She can't remember, and that terrifies her more than the dying. It's 7:47 p.m. when Miguel stands outside the payday loan office on 5th Street. The neon sign buzzes and flickers. Fast cash, no credit check. He's been here before, 6 months ago when Catalina got sick and the antibiotics cost more than he had. He's still paying that loan back, $50 a week at 100% interest. 4 more months to go. And now he needs another one. $125 for his daughter's aquarium trip. He checked his bank account 17 times today, like the number would magically change. It didn't. $17.43. The math is simple. He needs $150 to cover the trip, bus fare, and lunch money.
The cost is simpler. $375, paid back over time he doesn't have, at interest rates that should be illegal. Miguel thinks about Catalina's face when she talks about sea turtles, how her eyes light up, how she's been checking out library books about marine life for months, how she asked if they could afford it and said, "It's okay if we can't," in a voice that broke his heart. 12 years old, and already learning to shrink her dreams to fit his wallet. He thinks about his wife, Elena. What would she say? He knows what she'd say. Our daughter's dreams aren't negotiable, mi amor. We find a way. So he walks through the door. The man behind bulletproof glass is different from last time. Younger, meaner eyes. How much? $150, Miguel says. First time or a repeat? Repeat. The man's smile shows too many teeth. Interest rates higher for repeats. You're a credit risk. $150 borrowed means $375 paid back. The number hits like a fist. That's illegal? The man shrugs. So go to a bank. Oh wait, they won't give you shit. That's why you're here. Miguel's hands clench. He thinks about that mansion on the hill, about Vivian Ashford's bathroom that's bigger than his apartment, about medication bottles that cost more than his monthly rent, about how she asked his name like it was an inconvenience to remember. He thinks about the Tesla in her garage, $127,000, one car, one of 3. He thinks about his daughter counting coins and a ceramic fish. Fine, he says. Do it. The papers slide through the slot. Miguel signs them. Each signature feels like he's signing away a piece of his soul. But tomorrow, Catalina will see the fish. Tomorrow, she'll stand in front of that big tank with all her classmates and feel normal for one day. Tomorrow, she'll know her father loves her enough to move mountains, even if those mountains bury him. Meanwhile, Margot's preparation. In the main kitchen of the Ashford estate, Margot Beaumont prepares Vivian's morning juice with the precision of a surgeon and the intent of a killer. Green juice, organic, kale, spinach, celery, apple, lemon, and arsenic. Just a little, just enough. Slow and steady wins this particular race.
Margot has been patient. 11 months of patience, watching Vivian Ashford waste away, watching doctors chase ghosts, watching karma finally catch up to the woman who destroyed Margot's life.
5 years ago, Vivian's company fired Margot's husband for embezzlement. Philippe Beaumont, Margot's everything. He'd been set up. Margot knows this, has always known this. But Vivian didn't care about truth. She cared about example, about sending a message. Philippe lost his job, his reputation, his will to live. 6 months after the firing, he drove his car into a bridge support at 70 miles per hour. No note, no goodbye, just gone. And Vivian Ashford kept building her empire on the bodies of people like Philippe. So Margot changed her name, got new credentials, waited for her moment. When the Ashford estate posted for a private chef position, Margot applied. She got the job. And she's been killing Vivian Ashford ever since. Slowly, carefully, the way Philippe died. Slowly, carefully, while nobody noticed. Margot adds the arsenic to the juice, 3 drops, measured precisely, and puts the bottle in the refrigerator with the others. Tomorrow morning, like every morning, Vivian will drink it, and Margot will watch and wait. Justice, she's learned, doesn't always come from courts. Sometimes it comes from kitchens. Sometimes it's served cold in a green juice bottle. Sometimes the invisible people are the most dangerous ones of all. Catalina's morning. Friday morning, Catalina wakes to the smell of chocolate chip pancakes, shaped like fish. She comes out from behind the curtain in her pajamas and sees the permission slip signed, the money paper-clipped to it, an extra $10 bill for lunch. Her father stands at the stove, flipping pancakes, and when he turns around, his smile is so big it makes her chest hurt. "Morning, mi amor. Ready to see some fish?" She runs to him and hugs him so hard she feels his ribs. "Thank you, Papa. Thank you, thank you." "You are going to have the best day ever," Miguel says into her hair. "And tonight you're going to tell me about every single fish you see." She will.
She'll tell him about the sea turtles that glide through water like they're flying, about the jellyfish that pulse with light, about the shark tank where everyone screams but she stands quiet because she knows sharks are more afraid of humans than humans are of them. She'll tell him everything, but she won't tell him the other thing she notices, that he looks tired in a way that goes beyond staying up late, that his hands shake a little when he pours her orange juice, that his smile doesn't quite reach his eyes. 12 years old and already learning that love means sacrifice, that heroes pay prices they never mention, that her father is carrying weight she can't see but somehow feels. She eats her fish-shaped pancakes and pretends not to notice, because that's what you do when you love someone. You let them be strong for you, even when it's breaking them.
Miguel arrives at the Ashford estate 13 minutes late because he waited to see Catalina off on the school bus. Derek glares, but says nothing. Miguel takes the service elevator to the 3rd floor. The routine is familiar now. Strip the bed, clean the bathroom, organize the medication, vacuum, dust, polish, erase evidence of suffering, make everything perfect, invisible. But today, something breaks the pattern. As Miguel cleans, he hears raised voices from down the hall. "I don't care what the doctors say. Something is wrong with me." Vivian's voice, raw, desperate. "Sophia, please. They've run every test." Claire's voice, exhausted. "Then they're wrong. I'm dying and nobody believes me." A door slams. Silence. Miguel keeps cleaning, trying to disappear even more than usual, but his mind won't let it go. 11 months, Vivian getting worse, no diagnosis, every test coming back clean. His father's voice echoes in his memory. "Mijo, in the factory, we learned to read patterns. When something doesn't fit, when the pieces don't match, you're looking at the wrong puzzle.
Miguel's father died from heavy metal exposure at that factory. Slow poisoning. By the time they figured it out, it was too late. The doctors couldn't find it at first because they weren't looking for it. Miguel stops cleaning mid-motion. Heavy metal poisoning. Symptoms: weight loss, nausea, neurological issues, pain. Tests: come back clean unless you're specifically looking for it. Outcome: death, unless cotton time. He looks at Vivian's medication bottles, treating symptoms, never finding the cause. Because nobody's looking for poison. Who would poison a billionaire in her own home? Miguel's eyes drift to the doorway, to the hallway beyond, to the path that leads to the kitchen, where her food is prepared, where her special juice is made daily, by a chef who guards it like treasure. No, that's crazy. He's being paranoid. He's just a cleaning man. What does he know about? But he knows something. He knows what killed his father, and he knows what doctors miss when they're not looking. Miguel finishes his shift on autopilot, his mind racing. He shouldn't get involved. It's not his business. He could lose his job. But a woman is dying, and nobody else is asking the right questions. Late afternoon, after his shift should be over, Miguel finds himself in the main kitchen. It's empty. Margot has left for the day. Claire is at the hospital with Vivian, who collapsed this morning. Miguel shouldn't be here, but here he is. The refrigerator hums in the silence. He opens it. Green juice bottles stand in perfect rows, labeled with days of the week. His hands shake as he pulls out Friday's bottle. He's about to commit theft, possibly lose his job, definitely cross a line he can't uncross. But that woman is dying. Miguel unscrews the cap and smells it. Grass, bitterness, something else underneath, something metallic. He pours a small amount into a glass bowl from under the sink. Now what? He's not a chemist, can't run tests, doesn't have equipment. But he has memory, his father's lessons, basic chemistry, high school knowledge. Heavy metals react to certain chemicals. Under the sink, he finds it. Hydrogen sulfide solution for drain cleaning. He adds 1 drop to the juice.
Waits. Watches. The juice changes color. Green to brown. Brown to black. Black to sickly yellow-orange. Miguel's blood goes cold. That reaction. That specific color. Heavy metal contamination. Someone is poisoning Vivian Ashford. He grabs his phone with trembling hands and takes pictures. The bottle, the label, the reaction, everything. Then he hears footsteps. He shoves the bottle back in the fridge, dumps the bowl's contents down the drain, and is rinsing it when Margot walks in. She stops. Her eyes take in everything. Miguel at the sink, the fridge door not quite closed, the chemical smell in the air. What are you doing in my kitchen? Miguel's mind races. Derek sent me. Drain was backing up. I didn't notice any backup. Probably just starting. Good thing I caught it. They stare at each other across perfect marble counters. Margot's eyes are dark, calculating. You should not be in this kitchen unsupervised. Miss Ashford's dietary needs are very specific, very private. I was just cleaning. Just cleaning. She says it like she doesn't believe him. But what can she do? He wasn't caught with anything. The evidence is on his phone. I think you should leave now,
Margot says, "I will speak to Derek." Miguel leaves, feeling her eyes on his back the entire way. In the service hallway, he leans against the wall and tries to breathe. Someone is poisoning Vivian Ashford, and he just made an enemy. Miguel finds Claire in the hospital waiting room 3 hours later. She sits with her phone pressed to her ear, mascara running, her usually perfect composure shattered. "I don't know what's wrong. The doctors don't know. She just collapsed." She sees Miguel. Confusion crosses her face. He waits until she hangs up. "Miss Claire? Miguel?" She doesn't remember his name, he realizes. She's just reading his uniform. If this is about the schedule, it's about Miss Ashford. What about her? Miguel takes a breath. Every instinct screams that he's about to destroy his life.
But he thinks about his father, about dying slowly from poison nobody noticed until it was too late. "I think someone is poisoning her," he says. "The green juice, the morning blend. I tested it. Heavy metal contamination." Claire stares at him like he's spoken a language she doesn't understand. "What? That's insane. Who are you?" Miguel pulls out his phone, shows her the pictures. "I used hydrogen sulfide, basic chemistry. The reaction indicates heavy metals, probably arsenic based on the color change. The symptoms match. The doctors couldn't find it because they weren't looking for it." Claire's hand comes up to cover her mouth as she scrolls through the photos. "Oh my God," she whispers. "Oh my God." The chef, Margot, she makes that juice every morning for 11 months. Since right before Vivian got sick, Claire looks up at Miguel, really seeing him for the first time. Why would Margot? "I don't know, but Miss Ashford is here right now. If you tell the doctors to run a heavy metals panel, they'll find it. Claire is already grabbing her keys, her phone. They'll know." She stops at the door, turns back. "What's your full name?" "Miguel Reyes." "Miguel Reyes." She says it like it matters, like he matters. "Why did you do this? You could have ignored it, kept your head down. Why risk everything?" Miguel thinks about Catalina, about being invisible his whole life, about what that invisibility costs. "Because nobody else was looking," he says simply, "and she's dying." "Come with me," Claire says. "The doctors need to hear this from you." The confrontation. The hospital room smells like antiseptic and endings. 2 doctors stand outside Vivian's door. Dr. Morrison, silver-haired and skeptical, and Dr. Patel, younger with kind eyes that hide sharp intelligence. Claire approaches them with Miguel trailing behind in his gray uniform. "This is Miguel Reyes," Claire says. "He has information about Vivian's condition." Both doctors turn. Dr. Morrison's gaze catches on Miguel's uniform, and his expression shifts to polite dismissal. "Your cleaning staff?" "Yes, sir. But I think Miss Ashford has been poisoned. Heavy metal poisoning. Arsenic." The silence that follows is suffocating. Dr. Patel speaks first. "What makes you think that?" Miguel shows them his phone, explains the test. His voice is steady, even though his hands shake. "This reaction indicates heavy metal contamination. I've seen it before. My father worked in a factory. He died from exposure. He taught me what to look for." Dr. Morrison takes the phone, zooms in on the photos. His expression changes from dismissive to focused. "The symptoms fit," Dr. Patel says quietly. "Weight loss, neurological issues, GI distress. We ran standard tox screens, but not a heavy metals panel because we had no reason."
Run it now, Dr. Morrison interrupts. Full panel, and get me samples of everything she's consumed today. Claire is already texting. I'm having someone collect all the juice bottles, every single one. Dr. Morrison looks at Miguel, really looks at him.
If you're right about this, Mr. Reyes, you've done something remarkable. How did you even think to test for this? Miguel thinks about his father's warnings, about watching Elena die slowly, about knowing what poison looks like when it works from the inside out. Because I was paying attention, he says, and nobody else was. 2 hours later, Dr. Patel emerges from the lab. Her face is grave. Arsenic, she says. Dangerous levels. She's been ingesting it for months, small doses, daily. It's remarkable she's alive. The words detonate like bombs. Claire gasps. Miguel's knees go weak. The police are on their way, Dr. Morrison says. This is attempted murder. Margot, she whispers. It has to be Margot. She's the only one who prepares Vivian's juice. She's so protective of it. She stops. That's why. She didn't want anyone else touching it. Miguel thinks about Margot's eyes when she found him in the kitchen. Dark, calculating, knowing. Before he can voice the thought, commotion erupts down the hallway. Vivian is awake, and she's asking for the cleaning man who saved her life. They let Miguel into her room. He doesn't know why. Maybe because Claire insists, maybe because Vivian demands it. But suddenly he's standing in a private hospital room nicer than most hotel suites. Vivian Ashford lies in the bed, IV lines snaking from her arms. She still looks terrible, gray skin, hollow eyes, but she's conscious, alert, and the way she stares at Miguel makes him feel like he's being x-rayed. "You're the cleaning man?" she says. Her voice is hoarse, damaged. "Yes, ma'am." "Miguel?" He's surprised she remembers. "Yes, ma'am." "You tell me you saved my life?" She says it like she can't quite process the information. "That you figured out I was being poisoned when dozens of doctors couldn't?" Miguel doesn't know what to say. I just noticed things didn't add up." "You noticed?" The sound she makes might be a laugh if she had the strength. "I pay people hundreds of thousands of dollars to notice things. I have a team of the best doctors in the country. But the person who saved me was—" She trails off. Miguel can fill in the blank. Nobody. The invisible man. "Why?" Vivian asks. The question seems to cost her. "You could have ignored it. Could have just done your job. Why did you care what happened to me?" The question catches Miguel off guard. He thinks about that day in her bedroom, how she spoke to him, how she'd never learned his name in 11 months, how she accused him of missing spots while standing in a room that cost more than his entire life. He should be angry. Part of him is, but another part, the part that held Elena's hand as she died, the part that works 3 jobs to give Catalina a good life, knows something Vivian doesn't. "Because you're a person," Miguel says simply, "and people matter. All people, even the ones who don't see us." The words hang in the air between them. Vivian's eyes fill with tears. She tries to speak. Can't. Tries again. "I didn't see you, did I? 11 months. You were there every day, and I never even learned your name until—" "It's okay. It's not okay." Her voice cracks. "You saved my life, and I don't even know anything about you. Do you have a family?" "A daughter, Catalina. She's 12. "What's she like?" The question surprises him. She's amazing. Smart. Wants to be a marine biologist. Today was her school trip to the aquarium, first field trip I've been able to afford in 2 years. Something in Vivian's expression crumbles. The door bursts open. 2 detectives walk in with hospital security. Ms. Ashford, we need to ask you about your chef, Margot Beaumont. The story comes out in pieces over the next hour. Margot Beaumont, real name, Margot Philippe. 5 years ago, her husband worked for Ashford Technologies, mid-level executive, fired for embezzlement, lost everything, killed himself 6 months later. Margot blamed Vivian, had been planning revenge ever since, changed her name, got hired under false credentials, waited, then started adding arsenic to her morning juice. Just a little, just enough, slow and untraceable. The perfect murder.
Except she didn't count on the invisible man paying attention. The police arrest Margot at the estate. She confesses immediately, her face emotionless. She deserved it. She destroyed my family. She deserved to die the way Philippe died, slowly, painfully, alone. Miguel watches the news coverage on the hospital TV, feeling sick. All that hatred, all that poison, 2 lives destroyed over revenge. Mr. Reyes? Dr. Morrison stands in the doorway. The police want your statement, and Ms. Ashford has asked for you. Again. Vivian's room is crowded. Claire, the doctors, lawyers, a woman Miguel doesn't recognize in an expensive suit. Vivian gestures everyone else out. Give us a minute. They leave, though the lawyers look reluctant. Vivian pats the chair beside her bed. Sit, please. Miguel sits, feeling out of place in his gray uniform among expensive sheets and medical equipment. I've been lying here thinking about a lot of things, about how I became the kind of person who doesn't see other people, who doesn't learn the names of people who work in her house every day, who throws tantrums about missed spots while someone is literally trying to poison me to death. Ma'am, you don't have to. Yes, I do. Her voice is firm despite its weakness. I've spent 5 years building an empire, making billions, surrounding myself with yes men and luxury, and forgetting that none of it matters if you're dead or alone, or the kind of person who treats people like they're invisible. She reaches for something on her bedside table, an envelope. Claire told me about your daughter, about the aquarium trip, about the payday loans. Miguel, do you know how much interest you're paying? Yes, ma'am. And you took them out for your daughter's medicine, for her school trips, for her life. Miguel's throat tightens. He nods. While I complained about missed spots in a $42 million house. She holds out the envelope. Take this. Ma'am, I don't need. Take it. Miguel takes it with shaking hands. Inside is a check. His eyes widen. Too many zeros.
That's $250,000, Vivian says quietly. It won't change my life. I won't even notice it's gone. But it will change yours. It's not payment. It's not even gratitude, though I'm more grateful than I can express. It's an apology. I can't. This is too much. It's not enough. Tears run down Vivian's face. You saved my life. You risked your job, your security, everything for someone who never even saw you, who treated you like furniture, and you did it anyway because that's who you are. Miguel stares at the check. $250,000. Catalina's college fund. Their rent paid for years. New shoes, hot water, a car that doesn't break down. Freedom from the loan sharks. Freedom from being invisible. Why? He whispers. Because you showed me what I'd forgotten, Vivian says. That the measure of a person isn't their bank account or their job title. It's what they do when no one's watching. It's whether they see other people, really see them, as human beings who matter. And the news breaks like a wave. Billionaire tech CEO nearly murdered by vengeful chef, saved by observant janitor. Miguel's photo is everywhere. His phone explodes with interview requests, the invisible man suddenly visible to the entire world. Derek calls. Miguel, look, I didn't know you were a hero or whatever. Your job is safe. Actually, Ms. Ashford's people called. They want you to come back tomorrow, some kind of meeting. Miguel goes, stomach in knots. The estate looks different in afternoon light, or maybe he looks at it differently now. Claire meets him at the main entrance. The main entrance, not the service door. She's waiting in the library, Claire says, then softer. Thank you, Miguel, for everything. The library is all dark wood and leather-bound books. Vivian stands by the window in jeans and a sweater, looking small and human, and nothing like the imperious billionaire he cleaned for. Miguel, she smiles, a real smile. Thank you for coming. How's Catalina? Did she enjoy the aquarium? She talked about it for 3 hours straight, wants to save all the sea turtles now. Vivian laughs. It sounds rusty. I'd like to meet her sometime, if that's okay. She'd like that. Awkward silence.
I asked you here for a reason, Vivian says. I've been thinking a lot these past months. About my company, about my life, about the kind of person I want to be. She walks to her desk, picks up a folder. I'm starting a foundation, the Reyes Ashford Foundation, named after both of us, because this was your idea as much as mine. You did. You showed me that the people we overlook, the janitors, the service workers, the invisible ones, they're the ones who keep the world running. They're the ones who notice things, who care, who save lives while everyone else is too busy looking up to look around. Vivian opens the folder. The foundation will provide interest-free loans to working families, scholarship funds for their kids, healthcare assistance, everything you needed and couldn't get. We're starting with $100 million. Miguel can't breathe. And I want you to run it. The words don't compute. What? I want you to be the director. Full salary, $200,000 a year to start. Health insurance for you and Catalina. College fund, everything. I don't have any qualifications. I'm a janitor. I didn't even finish. You have the only qualification that matters. Vivian's eyes are bright. You see people, the ones nobody else sees. You'll know who needs help because you've been there. You'll know what questions to ask because you've asked them yourself. Miguel's mind reels. I don't know what to say. Say yes, please. Vivian's voice cracks. Let me do something that matters. Let me help you help other people like you. People who work 16-hour days and still can't afford their kids' field trip. People who are one emergency away from disaster. People who are invisible. Miguel thinks about the payday loan office, the predatory interest rates, the shame of signing papers that meant his labor belonged to someone else. He thinks about other fathers standing where he stood, other mothers, other families. There's one condition, Miguel says slowly. Anything. Catalina comes to the office with me after school. I'm not missing any more time with her. Vivian smiles, and it transforms her whole face. Deal. She can have her own office. We'll call it the Marine Biology Research Division. Miguel sits in his office, bright, windowed, with his name on a brass plate on the door, and reads through loan applications. Each one is a story, a life, a struggle. Single mother needing car repairs to get to work. Approved.
Father needing his daughter's asthma medication. Approved. Young woman trying to finish nursing school. Approved. Every approval feels like revenge against every loan shark, every condescending supervisor, every person who ever looked through him like he was invisible. Papa? Catalina pokes her head in. Her office next door has walls covered with ocean posters. Miss Ashford is here. Vivian walks in, moving steadily now. The gray tinge is gone. Her eyes are clear. She looks healthy, human. How many this week? She asks, nodding at the approved applications. 47 families. Good, Vivian smiles. That's 47 people who won't have to choose between medicine and food. Thanks to you. Thanks to us, Vivian corrects. You saved my life, Miguel. Now we're saving other people's lives. Together. They sit in comfortable silence, watching the city through the windows. Somewhere out there, people are struggling, being invisible, feeling forgotten. But not all of them. Not the 47 families this week. And next week, there will be more. 1 year after the poisoning, Vivian Ashford stands at a podium in front of 200 people, journalists, non-profit leaders, families the foundation helped. Miguel sits in the front row, Catalina beside him in a new dress she chose herself. She clutches a small trophy, the foundation's Young Humanitarian Award, that Vivian created for her, for inspiring her father to see differently. I almost died, Vivian says into the microphone. Her voice is strong now. Not because of the poison, though that nearly killed me too. I almost died because I'd stopped seeing people. I'd surrounded myself with wealth and success and forgotten that none of it mattered. She pauses, looking directly at Miguel. A man saved my life. Not a doctor, not a specialist. A janitor named Miguel Reyes, who noticed what nobody else noticed because he was paying attention, because he cared, because he saw me as a human being even when I'd never seen him that way. The audience applauds. Vivian holds up her hand. But Miguel did more than save my life. He taught me how to live it. He showed me that the measure of success isn't the size of your bank account. It's whether you use what you have to lift other people up. It's whether you see the invisible people and choose to make them visible. Behind her, the screen shows photos of families helped by the foundation. Smiling faces, grateful eyes, people who'd been one disaster away from ruin, now stable, secure, seen. The Reyes Ashford Foundation has helped over 600 families in 6 months. We've provided $2 million in interest-free loans. We've sent 43 kids to college. We've paid for medical treatments, car repairs, emergency housing, and one very important field trip to the Aquario. Laughter ripples through the crowd. Catalina blushes and grins. But more than that, Vivian continues, we've sent a message that every person matters, that the janitor is just as important as the CEO, that the single parent working 3 jobs has just as much dignity and worth as the billionaire, that we're all connected, and when one of us suffers, we all suffer. She steps away from the podium, walks down to where Miguel sits. Miguel, would you come up here, please?
Miguel's heart hammers as he stands. The audience applauds, some standing. He walks to the stage on unsteady legs. Vivian hands him the microphone. I'm not good at speeches, Miguel says. The audience laughs warmly. But I want to say something. 6 months ago, I was invisible. I worked in places where people looked right through me. I struggled to pay for my daughter's field trip. I thought that was just how life was for people like me. He looks at Catalina, who's crying happy tears. But then I learned something. I learned that one person seeing you, really seeing you, can change everything. Vivian saw me. She saw my struggle, and instead of turning away, she did something about it. Miguel's voice grows stronger. Now we're doing something about it for other people. Every family we help is someone who won't have to feel invisible anymore, someone who won't have to choose between food and medicine, someone who will know that they matter. He turns to Vivian. You said you saved my life, but you saved mine too. You gave me the chance to turn my pain into purpose, to make sure nobody else has to stand in that payday loan office feeling like they failed their kid. That's the real gift, not the money, the purpose. Vivian's eyes are wet. You're a good man, Miguel Reyes. The world is better because you're in it. So is yours, Miguel smiles. And I was always here. You just had to see me. Late that night, Miguel sits in his apartment, the same apartment, because he and Catalina decided they didn't need a bigger place yet. They needed to remember where they came from. The leak is fixed, the hot water works, but the essence of home remains. Catalina emerges from behind her curtain, still there, still separating their spaces, because some things are worth keeping. Papa? See me, amor? Do you think Mama would be proud of us? Miguel's throat tightens. He thinks about Elena, about her kindness, about how she taught him to see people, really see them, even when the world made you want to look away.
I think she'd be proud of you, he says. And she'd probably say I'm getting too full of myself with all this attention. Catalina giggles. Then serious. You changed someone's life, Papa. You changed lots of people's lives. We're changing lives together, mija. You and me and Vivian and everyone at the foundation. Because you noticed something nobody else noticed. No, Miguel pulls his daughter close. Because I refuse to be invisible anymore. And because when I finally was seen, I made sure to see other people too. That's the real lesson, sweetheart. Not the saving, not the money, not the foundation. What's the lesson? That every person you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. That the people society overlooks are often the ones holding everything together. That kindness costs nothing and changes everything. And that wealth isn't about money. It's about who you lift up when you rise. Catalina hugs him tight. I love you, Papa, more than all the fish in the sea. That's my line, but Miguel is crying now. Good tears, the kind that come from being seen, being valued, being human. Outside, the city buzzes with millions of lives, millions of stories, millions of invisible people doing invisible work, loving their families, fighting their battles, hoping for someone to see them. And somewhere in that city, in a mansion that no longer feels like a fortress, Vivian Ashford lies in her bed, no longer poisoned, no longer alone, and thinks about a man in a gray uniform who saved her life by simply paying attention. Both of them changed. Both of them learning, both of them seeing, the way everyone should see, the way the world would be if we all just looked, really looked, at each other. So, here's what I need you to understand. This is not just a story about a janitor who saved a billionaire. This is a story about what we choose to see, about who we choose to notice, about whether we measure people by their bank accounts or by their humanity. Right now, somewhere, There's a Miguel Reyes cleaning floors in a place where nobody knows his name. There's a Catalina counting coins, wondering if she's worth the cost of her dreams. There's a Vivian so consumed by success she's forgotten how to be human. And maybe, just maybe, this story will remind us all that everyone matters.
That the person who cleans your office has a name, a family, a story. That the person who serves your food is fighting battles you'll never see. That the person you walk past every day without looking might be the one who saves your life. What happens when compassion sees what money and medicine miss? What happens when we choose to look at the invisible? What happens when we remember that we're all human, all struggling, all trying to matter? This happens. Hope happens. Change happens. Justice happens. If this story touched your heart, if you've ever felt invisible, or if you've ever walked past someone without seeing them, do something about it. Learn a name today. Ask someone how they're doing. Mean it. Tip extra. Say thank you. Look people in the eyes. See them. Really see them. Because we're all one bad day away from needing someone to see us too. Share this story, not for views, not for likes. Share it because somewhere, someone needs to hear that they matter, that they're seen, that they're not invisible. Be someone's Miguel today. Be someone's Vivian who learns before it's too late. Be the person who looks, really looks. It might just save a life. It might just change everything. The world is watching. The question is, are you seeing? The people we overlook are often the ones who see us most clearly. May we all learn to look back. The Reyes Ashford Foundation. If this story touched you, share it with someone who needs to hear it today.